Welcome. I'm the Flat Earth Genius, and this is my living room. And I know what you're saying. You're saying, Flat Earth Genius? Why are you the Flat Earth Genius? Well, settle it down a little bit. We'll get to that in just a few minutes. But first, let me kind of explain what's going on here. This is my living room, and I'm inviting you to be a part of it. This is just an informal sit down with friends to discuss some things, and hopefully you'll feel comfortable. You won't feel judged. You won't feel belittled. You won't feel less than if you have a different opinion. We want to do things a little bit different, but we want to also help exercise that mind and start to think a little more critically and a little more logically about the way we are approaching things. So I felt like it was my time to step forward. And so I'll kind of explain who I am and why I'm even doing this. Well, I'm very new to the Flat Earth convention. Um, you know, I didn't even know this was a thing, to be honest with you, till very recently. I would say it's been now 6 weeks, give or take, that this was first introduced to me by a friend of mine who you will see here in this chair. Not tonight, but eventually. Me and him had been separated for a little while, and he came back into town from another state, and we're sitting down. In fact, he was sitting right there on that couch. It's just off camera, and he's like, "Hey, Flat Earth Genius." Of course, he didn't say that. He said my real name, but we'll just stick with Flat Earth Genius. He said, "Hey, Flat Earth Genius, what do you think about this whole Flat Earth thing?" And I looked at him like, "What are you talking about, this Flat Earth thing? What do you mean, the Flat Earth? Explain yourself, buddy. I know it's been a while since I've seen you. Was you go get messed up in some high strength stuff down there where you were?" And he's like, "No, seriously. I mean, I don't know much about it," he's telling me, but he's saying, I've just heard a lot about this flat Earth. That there's a lot of people that thinks the Earth is flat." And I had somebody else here with me, and we were just laughing up. We called him every name in the book except an educated person. And by within 30 minutes to an hour, we had convinced him that he was a friggin' insane person, and he had backtracked. He's like, "Well, I didn't know, I was just going off of what I was told, but I see how stupid I was," because we literally convinced him that he was wrong. And so it was later that night, he went home, and here I am later that night, like, how in the world did someone think the Earth is flat, right? I mean, this is just kind of obvious. The Earth is round. I mean, we all know that. We all know we live on a ball. So, I just got on YouTube or whatever and just started searching it out just to look at how stupid the theory was. Well, if I remember right, one of the first videos I watched, and I can't find this guy in any other videos, but maybe he is. It's a black man, and he's like on a talk show. He's being questioned, and he's just really presenting some information, and it was information I had never heard before. I'll put it to you that way. And it opened my eyes, and I'm not called the Flat Earth Genius for nothing. I mean, I do have a very logical and rational mind, and I have the ability to see truth and accept it without a big struggle. It's just, a lot of people have a hard time changing. And that's understandable, but I'm just not one of those type of people. I can think something this way and you show me that it's this way, and I don't have a big struggle with that, because the struggle when you don't like the turn is because you have a lot invested in going this way. There's a lot of pride in going this way, and the turn means all this time and energy you put going this way was for nothing. At least that's how we think about it, or a lot of us do. I'm not saying everybody does. I'm sure some people can view it healthy, in a healthy way, not recognizing that this is part of our journey and we have to go this way in order to go this way. If it wasn't for this, we'd never have the about face and come back this way. And a lot of our journey is understanding the about faces, you know. It's not so much what's here or what's here, but it's in this part of it. And so if we could take our eyes off of this and focus some more on this, we won't have as big of a problem accepting these things in our life. And we can, you know, we can approach things logically and rationally and not be insane about it, you know, and just be level-headed about our approach. So the flat earth movement, let me just give you a general feeling of just my, let me tell you what I believe about the flat earth. I've got a keyboard here and sitting here. We're going to have a special guest right here in this seat just in a little while, so stay tuned. Someone that's going to be right here in this seat is going to give us a big hand tonight. Here's what I know. I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that the earth is flat. It's a plane. We all understand this. Now, of course, you have mountains and you have valleys. We understand that. You have hills and you have dips and you have all kinds of stuff in between. But when you have the oceans are flat and level. You got mountains and valleys in between, risen up in elevation, but we live on a flat plane. It stretches flat in every direction. The North Pole, the magnetic North Pole, you know, the North Pole is in the center of that flat Earth. Think of it like a record, an old, 33 RPM record. I know if you're probably under, who knows, 30 years old, you probably don't even know what a record is, or you've only heard about it. And that's what I grew up listening to. But a record has a hole in the very middle where it fits over the spindle. So think of this Earth kind of like that round record. And a round, flat record that has a little hole in the middle. That's your North Pole. In this outer edge, the outer extremities of this plane, there's a lot of question about that. What happens out here? And, I'm not going to be dogmatic about things that I don't know. I want to make that kind of like an underlying rule for this channel here, this YouTube thing. But we're going to be honest, and we're not going to push a religion on people. When I start telling you things that I don't know, then that's belief, that's faith. And it's okay to have beliefs and faith. I'm not saying that. But when it comes to science, we need to deal with what we know, what we can test, verify, repeat, falsify, the scientific method. So I want to stay away, when it comes to the science of things, from like getting out to what's out there. Is the dome, is there a dome? If there is the dome right up on the edge of the ring, which will be Antarctica? Or is there more water and land beyond Antarctica, like some of the old maps we see? You know, is there more places to go explore? And then is there an ice ring beyond that, and then another water beyond that? Or is it like some of the pictures show, you know, a circle here, and this is us, and Antarctica is this ice, and then you have another circle here and another circle here, kind of like, looks like Swiss cheese with just these land masses every so often, separated by ice, you know? It could be like that. I don't know. But what I do know is that we live on a plane. We do not live on a spherical ball flying through space. This plane that we live on is motionless. It does not rotate, it does not tilt, it does not bob up and down, it does not wiggle, it does not tilt left or right. This plane that we live on is flat and motionless. Those two things I can tell you scientifically are facts. And when I say that, I mean you can go ahead and print that in the textbooks for next year's schools, because those are science facts now. The Earth is flat and motionless. And we can get into exactly how I can prove that as factual. I'm just telling you what I believe and what I know. I know that the Earth is flat and that it is motionless. Motionless, sorry. Now, what I don't know, but I believe, is this. I believe that Antarctica is this ring around us, and I believe beyond that ring there's more land. In oceans, just like we're continents floating in oceans, not floating, but you know what I'm saying, we're presented in oceans, and just like that, there's, and I even seen on one map it showed on that outer ring, like one of those things was called the floating island or something. Maybe there is floating islands out there, who knows. I do believe we're under a dome, under a firmament. Now, what that dome is made out of, obviously, how would I know? Have I been up there? Obviously not. Have you? No. So maybe no one knows. NASA may know, who knows? But I don't, so I can't tell you right now. But we're going to find out. Give us time, we're going to find that out. Maybe if God wills it. Maybe he doesn't want us to know. Maybe he's designed, well, we can't figure it out, you know? Maybe there's some type of force field or something in before you get to it that prevents you from getting to it. Who knows? But I believe we are under a dome on this flat circular earth, like a disc, like a big record with a hole in the center and a dome over it. And the sun, moon, and stars are all within this dome. Now I do know that the sun and the moon are 93 million miles and 250,000 miles respectively away. That's not logical. And I do know we don't revolve around the sun. We're not a heliocentric system. We're in a geocentric system. We are immovable. In the center, everything is right above us and it moves for our benefit. We live in a big, giant, amazing watch, a timepiece. The sun, moon, and stars are all working in concert together, doing these things in their times. And we can look up in the sky at any given time on any day and know exactly what time it is, what month we're in, what day it is. You know, we can tell all these things just by looking at the sky. So it's amazing. The accuracy is amazing. It's wonderful. So that's kind of like just a brief introduction about how I got into the Flat Earth movement and where I'm at. Like I said, I'm only about 6 weeks in, but in my world, 6 weeks is a long time when it comes to studying information. So I'm studied up. I don't feel like I'm anywhere near there, but I'm studied up pretty good. I've watched a lot of videos. I've done a lot of my own thinking. I've done a lot of my own experimenting with what I can and what I have available to me. And you can ask my girlfriend and my son, this has consumed me for the last month and a half. So I feel like I'm progressing at a good pace for myself. And, you know, making this, I wanted to, of course, I wanted to have a name to call myself. I didn't just want to go by my given name. I wanted to have something, that would stand out and that would attract someone to click on the link, and maybe challenge someone. So Flat Earth Genius just really seems to fit that bill. And, I'm not going to brag or toot my own horn, but I am, my IQ's up there pretty high. And I'm blessed. I've always looked at that as a blessing and a curse at the same time because, to be honest with you, I found this interesting balance in my life, this synergy where my intellect and my ability to socialize with people have kind of found a nice happy medium. And it's not the easiest thing in the world because it's hard sometimes when you're dealing with people to have patience, to be able to relate when they don't understand something as quick as I do. Like if information is presented to me, it doesn't take me forever to figure it out. I put my mind to it. I sit down. I pull up the videos or the whatever I need to look at to learn something, and I learn it. And a lot of people don't have that drive, so it takes people a lot longer to get it. And I'm just not like that. So, relating to other people can be challenging, especially when you're trying to teach new information. So, a video like this is actually a good platform for me because I don't have to interact necessarily right now directly with people and see how slow they are at learning and picking this up. Like they can play this video back 1,000 times and I'll never know, and that's good, So I'm a Flat Earth Genius. I have a 166 IQ. I know that's not the highest in the world, but it's pretty darn high. It's up there in the top less than 1%. And I'm not a member of Mensa. I could be. I just feel like intellect it's not like something I did, I was born this way. I had it from my youngest memories, and even before I remember, my parents would tell me stories about how I would just do things different because of my intellect, and it got me in trouble a lot, and it aided me a lot. So, like I said, it's been a blessing and a curse. So, but I'm the Flat Earth Genius, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to hopefully use my abilities and my skills to help improve this Flat Earth Society. Now, I'm not talking about, the whole fake Flat Earth Society website and psyop out there. I'm talking about us true Flat Earthers who want to coordinate in community and work together to further this understanding so we can get people to wake up from the deception they're in, right? That's what the goal is. And so we can make some changes, so we can get some laws passed where we can go to Antarctica, or we can venture out. We can find out what's really going on up in the skies, and hold NASA accountable for their deceptions. So I have to, at this point, I have to thank the Flat Earthers who have come before me. There's a few that I will mention by name specifically. Number one is Flat Earth Asshole. The videos of just, I love your perspective. I love your spirit. You're doing it right, man. I just appreciate you. And ODD. I've watched a lot of your videos, and they really helped out. Appreciate that, man. JERANISM, watched a ton of your things. You put a lot of stuff up, man. I appreciate that. You've got an endless drive for that, and that's great. And you know, just a lot of props. Mass Powerland, you know, I love that video you did on how to debate the flat Earth, you know, by using your shirt. You know, is it a photo or is this a picture? You know, is it a photo or a painting? And really, you know, that's the deal. We have to break that matrix that these people live in, because they've had the wool pulled over their eyes. And you know, it's how me and you respond to these people and present this information that is going to be the difference. You know, the information is what it is. It's how we give it to them that I think is going to be beneficial. And so there's a lot of other guys that I'm not naming by name just because I don't have the time, I don't have the memory. There's Flat Earth News, there's a DDG, there's Mr. Thrive and Survive, there's Paul on the Plane. Appreciate your work you do. There's so many of you guys out there, and just Rob SKIBA. I mean, come on now, let's talk about it. Appreciate you, man. I know you've been through a lot. I know you had to make some sacrifices, and we all have to. And you know, but I appreciate your heart and your spirit. Before I go on and really get into the lesson tonight, because I want to base these Flat Earth Genius episodes kind of like maybe a sit-down lesson where we can discuss some things. You know, obviously you're not here in person, but hopefully you're interacting with me with your mind, and by hitting the pause button and looking up stuff or writing notes down, emailing me or commenting, you know, because this is a conversation. But what I want to do real quick, because I've noticed the common thread through the Flat Earth movement is our perspective on religion, and everybody has their perspective. You have people all the way from atheists, to very fundamental Christian, you know, King James, Hellfire and Brimstone Christians, and everything in between. And that's okay. I appreciate that diversity. I mean, that to me, that brings strength to us, and there's nothing to be afraid of there, guys. So I just wanted to kind of tell you where I stand on that spectrum. And I have another YouTube channel. It's called The Church is a Scam. If you just YouTube The Church is a Scam and scroll down, and you'll see some videos that say, you know, it's just like a white background with like red or blue lettering, I can't remember right now. And it'll say like freedom from sin or freedom from fear or whatever. Those are our videos, my videos. And if you really want to get a good insight, please, I encourage you to go listen to them, because that'll go into detail and explain this. I just want to give you a quick rundown, just so you know where I'm coming from. But I don't care where you're at, okay? There's no judgment here. You'll see that. I believe that we were created by an almighty being. We call him God, right? Whatever, Jehovah, Creator, Almighty, Allah, if you will. And I know that might scare some people, but I'm a Trump supporter. But I understand that these are all just names for our perception of an almighty creator. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm just saying it from that perspective. I believe we were created by a good God who loves us. And I believe we all did our own thing. We all went our own way. For me, my life was a wreck, guys. And I was going this direction. And one day God met with me. He opened my eyes. I didn't meet with him. He met with me. He found me where I was. I didn't like wake up one day and say, hey, I think I'm going to go get saved today, guys. No, it didn't work like that. He hunted me down and he cornered me. It was like a trap almost. But he broke me and he humbled me. And I cried out to him to save me. And he did. That was in 1995 when I was just 24 years old. And my journey since then has been an amazing journey. And this journey has been like this. It's been a roller coaster of religion. Because from the very beginning, my heart was for God. I wanted everything he had. I wanted to know him. I was so thankful from what he saved me from. I mean, I was in love with him. But then I got going to church, man, and just the religion of church has brought me down and down. I lost my joy. I lost my freedom. I lost the peace that I was supposed to have. And living the life became a burden. Living the Christian life became a chore. It was because I was sincere and I wanted to walk in truth, but yet I could never do it. I could never be the man I wanted to be. I could never get over all the sins that I was living under. Well, thanks to God and his amazing grace, he sent someone my way who just so happens to be the same guy that exposed me to flat earth, but this was years ago. He came to me and told me about another thing, and it was about the freedom we have in Christ and how we've been freed from the law of sin and that we are no longer under that law. It's not that we just have been saved and have our sins forgiven. Jesus didn't just forgive us. He removed the handwriting of ordinances that was against us. He took it out of its way and defeated it. He fulfilled it for us. He fulfilled that law that says, thou shalt not, do this, don't do that. Jesus did it for us because we couldn't do it. And because of that, I am now his righteousness, the righteousness that he is, so am I. Is it because of anything I've done? Absolutely not. It's because of everything that he's done. So what does that mean? It means I have rest now. I don't have to struggle on that hamster wheel of performance and trying to be righteous and trying to be someone I'm not. I can be who I am. God has accepted me and adopted me into his kingdom. I am his son now. He has filled me with his spirit. And it's his job to raise me up and make me the man he wants me to be. It's not some preacher's job. It's not some book's job. It's not my job to do it. It's not your job to tell me what to do. It is his work. I am his workmanship. He is the pilot of this plane right here. And that's the only law I live by, is his law, which is love. I don't live by rules of don't do this and don't touch that and don't say this and don't say that. And all of these things that Christianity has placed upon our necks, these yokes they put around us and burden us with. You know, forget all that nonsense. It's bullshit. It's ridiculous. It's religion. You know, it came to me one day, this saying, religion is what you do. Spirituality is why you do it. I want to be spiritual, not religious. I could care in the least about what I do in my life. The Christian world looks upon my life and thinks I am just lost as anybody. They think I'm the biggest reprobate in the world. But I don't care, because I have peace with my Father, and I know who I am in Him. I am the righteousness of Christ. As He is, so am I. In this present time, He's taken my sin and cast it as far as the east is from the west, so far as He removed my transgression from me. Because He has brought me out of that law, I'm no longer under the law of sin and death. And where there is no law, Romans says, there is no transgression. How can you violate a law that you don't even have applied to you? See, when we come under Christ, we're freed from the law. And Galatians 5 talks about those who want to put themselves back under that law and try to be righteous by their own doings. That's ridiculous, guys. Free yourself from that burden, that bondage of religious garbage, man. Be free from that. Man, there's so much freedom in Christ. It's wonderful. It is mind-blowing, the freedom we have in Christ. That He has done with. He's dealt with it. We are His. And there's nothing that can change that. So anyways, that's where I stand on that. But I'm not going to preach to people, because that's not my job. My job isn't to preach at you. I don't have a hell to send you to. God is love, and there's no darkness in Him. He's not like us that wants to just torture His enemies. And He asks us to forgive us. He says, forgive your enemies. Do good to those who hurt you and use you. But yet He's going to throw them in hell forever? Come on, man. Where's the love in that? We got it wrong, guys. That book has led us astray, man. And you know, my heart breaks for people who are sincerely love God with all their heart, but get so bogged down in the religion of Christianity. Because let me tell you, I've been there. I've done it for over 20 years now. I've been there. I know the top people in the business. I've been in their ministries. Names that everyone on this planet knows. I've been in their ministries. And what I'm trying to tell you is religion is not the answer. That book with 66 individual books is not the answer. As great as that thing is, and as good as it is, and as much wisdom and knowledge is in that book, it is not your Savior. Jesus Christ is your Savior. And He gave you the Spirit that you had no need that any man would teach you. He said, I'm going to pour my Spirit on you, and He will guide you into all truth. And He said, I'm going to pour this book on you, and you're going to have to look at this book and make sure it's in this one particular version, or else you're going to hell. Come on, man. Where we went astray, dude. Let that religious stuff go, man. As big of an eye-opening thing as the flat earth is, let me tell you, understanding the freedom you have in Christ is 100 times greater than this flat earth revelation. I promise you. Knowing that Christ is your Savior and that you've been freed completely from the law of sin and that you have no judgment upon you anymore for anything, that frees you to be who you are. That's way more than this flat earth knowledge is going to do. So what, at the end of the day, we're proven right we live on a flat earth. We still live on this flat earth. But let me tell you something. The minute you can wrap your mind around the fact that Jesus Christ has freed you from sin once and for all, Hebrews says once and for all, there's no more consciousness of sin for the believer. And that's not bad news for the unbeliever either, because the only difference between you and me is that I know He's done it. You don't know He's done it yet, but He already did it for you too. He already did the work for all of us, man. It said by the act of one man, talking about Adam, sin came into the world by the one act, by disobedience by Adam, by a one act. Sin came into the whole world, and all men became sinful, and death came upon them. And then it says, but look at the next verse. How much more the free gift by the one man, Jesus, brought life to everyone. If one act by Adam brought us all into desperation and death, how much greater is the act of Christ? So anyways, if you want to know more about that, go look up The Church is a Scam. I'll try to put a link to it somewhere on here, and check it out. But listen, guys, we got to get out of this religious mindset, okay? I've got an outline here on the screen I'm looking at, so I don't miss anything. Oh, good. We're only 35 minutes in. This is going to be a quick one, I can tell. Hopefully you're enjoying this. Okay, we're going to get into the second part of this now, which is, I wrote down here, governing our science. And what I mean by that is, we're a community now. We're all in this community of flat earthers. And right now we're a minority. We're gaining numbers by the day. It's obvious. I mean, this thing is picking up steam quick. And it's just amazing. It's blowing my mind how daily now it's taken off. I think we're at a time where we really need to take a step back. It's like the old saying, fall back and punt. We need to kind of fall back and gather ourselves, regroup. I see a lot of stuff going on in this movement that breaks my heart, that just, you know, things that we don't need to be dealing with. And, you know, the flat earth doesn't care about your drama. The flat earth and the dome could care less about your power struggles. We don't care if you were the creator of flat earth or not. And I say this directly to Math Powerland. And I'm not saying this to belittle you, because, man, I love your videos and I love your insight and the work you've done. Who can deny it, right? But come on, man. You're just one of us, bro. You ain't the creator of flat earth unless you're thousands of years old. Because this flat earth has been around for a long time. Now, you may be the first one, and I don't know, I haven't verified it. You may be the first one to upload a video to YouTube in the modern age, so maybe you did that. And for that, great. I mean, thank you. I can never thank you enough for if you're the one who got this ball rolling here in our modern times. But, you know, a little humility is necessary here as well. And the flat earth movement doesn't care about your ego and your pride and whether you were the first or the last or any of those things. I'm talking to everybody now. And I don't mean to pick on Matt Powerland. Believe me, this guy is probably smarter than I am and knows 100 times more. I'm not trying to get in a pissing contest, believe me. But it's one thing you're going to note about me is I'm going to be transparent. And if I have a qualm or a beef, I'm going to express it in a way that, you know, we can dialogue and work through it, because that's the whole point. We need, as a community, to work together despite these seeming differences. I mean, ODD, I mean, I don't know you as a person, but you're probably a great guy, and I hope you are. And man, God bless you, dude. You've been through some stuff in your life, haven't we all? We've all made horrible choices. All of us, man. But thanks be to God, we have victory over those things. Thanks be to God, He's brought you from where you were to where you are now, man. And there is no condemnation, no judgment going to come from me to you. And that's real. And I'm sorry that you've had to go through what you've had to go through from other people in this community. excuse me. I get passionate about this. That's who I am. I'm a passionate guy. I have a high energy. And my energy comes out in many ways. I understand Alex Jones and how he operates and how his energy works. I'm a lot the same way. Of course, I'm not the hype he is, but believe me, my energy is very high. I have a very strong energy. And I have a deep passion for people. I have a deep passion for the well-being of people. And you know, it'd be good if we just learn to respect one another in this movement and come together, you know. Don't let our differences divide us, but let's come together on the things that bring us together, like this flat earth we live on. We've got enough drama out there. Come on, look at it. Look at everything we've got to deal with, all this nonsense. I mean, look at the science or Bill Nye. Are you kidding me? Neil deGrasse Tyson? Joe Rogan? This Nick West guy or whatever his name was he had on? I mean, this is the drama we're supposed to be dealing with, not with our petty differences and our quibbles and our bickerings. You know, let's work together, man. We should be able to like look at each other in the eye and say, "Man, I love you, man." And I don't care what you believe. I don't care about your religious differences. I don't care about what you did in the past, because believe me, we've all done things, whether we've been caught or not, or whether they're the same or not. You know, we all have our issues. We all have our demons, man. And if you can't admit to that, come on, man, be real. It's time to be real. Quit being a judge over others. But we need to govern this science a little better. I think we can come together. I know there's a convention coming up right here in North Carolina where I live. I'm in North Carolina, but I'm in the mountain area. I'm in western North Carolina. And I'm not going to be able to make that convention. I wish I could, but I can't. So hopefully some good things come out of that. And hopefully we can work through some of these things. I'll be watching as the videos come up. I'll be watching every minute of it, and hopefully they'll be live streaming, and you know they can get our input and stuff. But you know what we have to do is we have to get back to putting the scientific method over our beliefs. And to me, this is like one of the main crucial areas I think we need to focus on. Too much we get invested into our belief system, and we get a theory, we come up with some hypothesis, so we theorize this is what should happen. Let's say it's the dome or Antarctica or the sunlight cycles, and we think we've got it figured out, or the curvature of the earth, or whatever specific point we're dealing with. And we figured it out, man. We've got it, you know, in our mind, so we think. But yet when it's applied to the scientific method, it doesn't hold up. Not because it's not true, maybe, but just because we can't test it and verify it and prove it scientifically. Well, those things that we can't test, verify, and repeat, and falsify, and prove, it's not science, that's belief. And we need to learn to separate those two and kind of leave our beliefs aside and focus more on the science. And those areas that we have beliefs about, our science will catch up to that, and eventually we'll find out what's on the other side of the Antarctica, what the dome is, how far the sun and the moon are. You know, we're going to learn those things over time, but right now we can only theorize about it. So let's get back to science and experimentation, those things that we can touch and handle and verify. And as we do that and we garner more support and more followers and funding, I'm not saying to me, but to whoever we say should get funded, then we can afford to journey to the wall or send a rocket up or what have you. So I feel like we're trying to bite off more than we can chew. Maybe we ought to take a step back and just let's get back to the basics. Let's start with the fundamentals of a flat plane and be able to explain that excuse me, be able to explain that 100%. All of us, we need to be able to do that before we can start talking about how far the sun is or what's on the other side of the wall and the alien life forms living over there. You know what I'm saying? We need to work our way out. Like work our way out. We're trying to dabble out here and we don't even understand this shit. So let's bring it back a little bit. Let's apply the scientific method again. Let's get excited about science. Let's get excited about experimentation and following through. I watched the video that was done just recently. They went back and redid the Bedford Level experiment right on the canal, the very canal. They took a team of flat earthers out there. Go to YouTube, you can watch the video. It's horrible. What a horrible experience watching that is. What a horrible experiment. Rowbotham back in the 1800s did that experiment. And here you are. And we can see how in the 1800s this man stood in the middle of that canal with this little looking glass and looked down there and was, able to do what he did. And here we are repeating this experiment. And we go out there and take a group of people and we get in we're scared to step in the water so we don't get wet. We got a laser taped to the back of a canoe that's flopping around and pointed in the sky. We got no cameras that are worth anything to see. And, it's a horrible experiment. I mean, I appreciate the effort. But come on, we got to do better than this. We need to coordinate this stuff a little better and think these things through. Why waste your time and do all that and upload this video for people to watch and just walk away from acting like? Believe me, I walked away from that video just really disturbed about like the effort that was put out for that experiment. And we've just got to do better, man. I noticed people are doing experiments and not even uploading HD. What's going on with this? This is 2017, guys. I mean, this is a Sharp Aquos. This is the phone I use. There's my man. But this thing records in 1080p. I can film 1080 high quality video. Most of your phones, probably better than mine, can probably do 4K now. And here we're uploading videos literally in 360p experiment levels. The Bonneville Salt Flats, where a guy and his wife was out there and she drove off in the car and he stood there and it was in 360p or 420 or whatever it was. It was horrible. Why? What happened? Do you not have an HD phone? Is your camera, does it not record in HD? Did you not take the time to upload it in HD? I mean, what happened? Why are we not uploading these experiments in crystal clear HD? Come on, guys, let's get together, man. Put some effort into these things. And coordinate this stuff. okay, let's say you have an experiment you want to do. Let's coordinate these things together. Like, all right, if I have an idea, I get with, Flat Earth Asshole and JERANISM or Eric DUBAY. Sorry, I forgot to mention you earlier. You've been I mean, come on now. But, and, coordinate these things. Find out if there's other people in your area who will help you out, who can maybe fund or supply, what you don't have that will make this a better experiment. Let's learn to coordinate. Let's work with each people in our own. Let's find out who's in our area and let's work together and pull together to strengthen numbers. I mean, we're a lot of lone people here and there, and that's great. This is how it gets going. But now it's time. We're at that apex now. We're at this nexus point where this thing's going to blow up, and there's some reasons why. I might not get into it in this video, but there's some reasons why I believe that the flat Earth movement is going to explode over the next year. And when I say that, I mean like legit. It will be out. The information will be out. It will be public, and we'll have to deal with it as a society. I think that's happening within the year, and there's a couple of reasons why. One is the expedition that's fixing to happen to Antarctica. I don't know when it's happened. They haven't gave us a date. I'm assuming it's probably going to be in November, December, where it's summer down there, so they have the max amount of light. So, but we'll see. And the second reason is because our president is a flat earther. And I believe that when those people get back from Antarctica, they're going to have the proof that we've been waiting for about what's over there. Hopefully that's what we hope they get, right? If they come back with what we hope they come back with, then the information is going to be here. And I think the government at that point will have to coordinate, because this information is too big and it'll have to be rolled out in a logical way so society isn't disrupted too much. This is going to disrupt society when this comes out. I mean, it's going to disrupt a lot. If you haven't thought about that, just think about it for a while. Let that, just ponder that while you're going to bed one night. The disruption, when this information becomes mainstream, the effects it will have on our society. So let's coordinate these experiments and try to do a little bit. I'm not downing you guys, you salt fat people, you couple. Man, you went out there. I didn't go out there and do it. You did. So I'm not taking anything away. I'm just saying, here's how we can improve ourselves. This is how we can do better the next time. And always make sure you got your cameras in the highest resolution possible. Okay. Think about film angles. Put some effort into it. And you might say, well, look at this shitty ass recording you're doing right here. Well, this is the best I can get it, man. I've got a 1080p. I've got the best Logitech webcam money could buy right there. And I don't have enough light. And so everything looks grainy. I can see it right there in the picture when I play it back. But what can you do, man? I've got all the light in the house turned on. I mean, this is it. I've got the levels cranked way up. It's like a dang dungeon in here according to this camera. But I'm going to get some more light and improve on that. But I'm just saying, if something looks bad, analyze it, admit it, and try to improve it for the next video. You know what I'm saying? And, so give input and receive input. We do this through comments and videos, and you guys that put videos up, check those comments, man. Respond to those comments. I've commented on like quite a few videos, and I've not gotten one reply back. And that troubles me that I've responded several times to at least 5 or 6 different flat earthers, and I've not got one response back. We need to respond to our videos. If we upload a video and ask people to respond, and then they respond, and then you need to get back with them. You know what I'm saying? I know you can't get back to everybody all the time, but we gotta make an effort. This is how we win this. This is how we further the science. You know, we follow through on the things we say we're gonna do. And listen, when somebody gives you input, listen to it. Take it in. Don't get offended by it if it goes against what you believe. If I believe there's a dome, and I listened to a guy the other day, I forget who it was, he thought the sky was flat. Well, okay, he thinks the sky is flat. I didn't get offended at all. Why? Because I don't know there's a dome over me. I think there is. It's what the Bible, which is a book I don't put a whole lot of weight into, although I love it, but the Bible does seem to say there's a dome over, so I tend to believe that. Every kind of the inferences and the evidence is that we may be under a dome, but we can't say for sure yet. So a guy saying that the sky's flat, or somebody saying it's not round, we're in a Pac-Man world and the sun goes in that door and comes out of this door on this side, but it just happens. Hey, I hope it's like that. That's even better, man. That's supernatural all the way, and this is a supernatural world no matter how we slice it. I don't care what model you go by. Even if it's the freaking Big Bang bullshit we've been taught. That's the most supernatural of all of them to get this bullshit to work. We've got all these planets just flying through space, nearly colliding, but they don't. And they're just doing this for millions of years on end, and it's just hunky-dory. Well, there's a lot of supernatural stuff you have to sell me to get me to believe that one. So when you want to talk about supernatural, that's a supernatural model. So for me to think a sun might go over here and just pop back out over here isn't too hard to believe anymore. You know what I'm saying? So whatever the model is, let's not get offended by hearing other people's difference. Let's listen. Let's use other people, because those people are thinking that. That guy thinks it's a Pac-Man model. He has a reason to believe that. He's had his own life experiences, and he's had his own set of skills and his own things he's done in life, and all of his whole life that he's lived, for how many years he's been alive, it's all worked together to give him a perspective that maybe it's a Pac-Man world, and the sun and the moon go over here and they pop back over here. And the Book of Enoch does kind of allude to it, right? So I mean, you know what I'm saying? Let's be open. Come on, man. We don't have nothing to protect here. You didn't create this earth or the sky. What do you got to protect? What does it matter if it's flat or round? What if it was round? That would be just fine with me. Wouldn't it be fine with you if it was round? I mean, I don't have anything against a round earth. What I have is, I have something against the deception and the lie. And I want to know the truth. We've been told we're on this ball, but if we're on a flat plane, there's a big difference here. And the difference is called deception. And that's what bothers me. It's not whether we live on this versus this. I mean, I want to know scientifically, is it this or this? Yes, I want to know. But what bothers me is the deception. We need to break that deception. There's so many deceptions going on in this world. And we act like we just can't be deceived, you know, that nobody would ever try. Oh, what kind of conspiracy? How could you get all these people to do this? You know, well, you just got to look back, man. God, first of all, we're trying to think about it from a natural perspective, like natural men just doing their own thing, you know, and working together to commit a conspiracy to deceive the whole world. But what if it's God that put delusion on us? You know, what if it's like God that hardens our hearts or softens our hearts? What if he's got a little more control over this than we like to admit? You know, maybe those people who are in the delusion can't even help it. Maybe we were in that delusion for our whole lives until someone showed us, right? So we're no better than them. We just happen to have been able to see behind the curtain a little bit. So let's be a little graceful and listen and respect one another. You know, respect our opinions and our differences. This is how this movement, this community is going to grow. When we can realize, we can put aside all of our differences, and it's the same thing in the stupid church. in the church, you got so many people arguing against one another because this person has a particular gift and this person has a gift. And everybody is always judging other people, what other people do, because they don't understand. They don't walk in their shoes. They don't have this person's mind. They don't know the troubles they've been through and where their life has carried them. But believe me, they want to do the best too, just like you do. So let's give each other a break here. Stop with the drama and respect one another. Here's where we need to focus our input, our efforts and our energies is on people like Bill Nye and Neil Tyson deGrasse or Neil deGrasse Tyson and Joe Rogan and all these shills like that. Because let me tell you, man, you know, honestly, I think Bill Nye and Neil deGrasse Tyson may be on our side. And I only say that because here we are coming out saying the earth is flat, right? And we're presenting all this scientific experimentation and data, which is, it seems to say that the earth is flat and immovable. I think we've got some good science on our side, actually. And so here the powers that be, whoever that is, has pushed these two people, Bill Nye and Neil deGrasse Tyson, forward as the debunkers of the flat earth theory. And these are the mainstream guys that have taken up the TV airtime, and they're going around and on the talk shows and stuff making fun of the flat earth, you know. So these are the guys we're dealing with, and here's their proof. You've got Neil deGrasse Tyson going to prove gravity. Now, he's watched hundreds of videos probably, or dozens of videos of flat earthers proving that gravity does not exist. Or at least theorizing that it doesn't exist using some very good logic and reasoning. And then you got Neil deGrasse Tyson. The guy is supposed to be a scientist, one of the leading astrophysicists of our time. And his proof of gravity is this. Bitch. I mean, are you kidding me? Does that offend anybody's, like, does that insult your intelligence a lot when he did that? I mean, because I felt like I got mad. I wanted to beat his fucking ass, believe me. Like, are you kidding me? Something this important, and you're just gonna do this, and that's the proof, and just laugh? I think we deserve to be respected a little more than that. So we need to focus on this idiot. And Bill Nye, did you hear this nonsense when he was answering the questions? He's like, well, I think it might have been Flat Earth Asshole that was asking the questions. If not, it was somebody else. Forgive me if I'm wrong about that. I've crowded a lot of information on my mind, so when it comes to what person did which video, sometimes I get confused, but I'm down with the information. But Bill Nye says, well, if the earth was flat, why can't we go to New York City and see Spain? And I'm like, this was his rebuttal on his television show of science. And he reads this viewer's email or letter or video mail, whatever it was. Dear Bill Nye, isn't the earth flat? And hasn't it been proved? And here you got Bill Nye as a scientist, the science guy. Here, let me answer with some really good science, children. If the earth was flat, you should be able to stand on the beach out at New York City and see all the way to Spain, shouldn't you? And this is the end. This is the rebuttals we're getting. You understand what we're dealing with here? And then he said in the same video, if you go and watch it, I think it's Flat Earth Asshole versus Bill Nye. He says, Well, if the earth was flat, you should just be able to go stand in the middle of the Mississippi River and see New Orleans from St. Louis. And, you know, yeah, I mean, come on, people. We've gotta go after these fools, man, because these guys, we need to get these guys out of the way. Like, we need to, our science is so, we have science, they don't. They know they can't go to the beach and measure a curve. They know this. We have all the power in our hands scientifically. They have nothing. They have nothing but quips and funny mic drops and well go out and look to Spain if it's flat. You know what I'm saying? So we have science. Let's use it. And let's go after these guys. I'm an hour and 5 in. I'm on section 3 now. What I want to talk about now is I want to go into some bogus science that's going around on our side, not on the Glober side. That is a 100% bogus science. I'm saying on our flat earth side, we're postulating some, in what my opinion is garbage science. I'm going to bring it up. I could be wrong, but this is how we do it. We bring it up. When we see issues, we be honest about it. We bring it up and we deal with it. I've got 3 specifics listed here that I'll go through. And the first one relates to the second one, although they're 2 different people. It's the same concept. And for this, I need to bring in our guest that's going to help us out tonight. No, it's not this, but it says eat cake for breakfast. Here's our guest. What do you think? There we go. The old globe Earth. Hey, Earth. The Earth's our guest tonight. But this is going to be here to demonstrate some things for us. One thing that's real funny is this Earth ball here, this yoga ball is perfectly circular. Perfectly circular. But look at this. Look at this half versus that elongated half. You see how it projects out further? And this is tight and round. It's perspective from the camera because the camera's like here, so it's looking at it on an angle. So even with that, you're getting a perspective because it's probably a fisheye lens in there. Anyway, I just thought that was interesting. But this is going to help me explain some things tonight. Okay, first is the book Terra Firma, which I'm going through it, slowly digesting it. But I got to pull something up here. I've got it already preloaded into my browser. I just got to bring it up because I'm going to read this to you in a minute. I'm going to read this short little paragraph from the book Terra Firma, and then I'm going to explain the problem that I think is in here. This is some garbage science, and we need to be honest about it. Because if we can't be honest about our garbage science, how are we ever going to improve our science, right? So don't ever get attached to your theories until they're proven. Once they're proven, then we can attach ourselves to them and we can put our word behind it. But until we know something, we can't put our word behind it, man. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, let me explain this. Here's the quote. I go, end quote. Another surveyor and engineer of 30 years wrote to the Birmingham Weekly Mercury, February 15, 1890, stating, quote, I am thoroughly acquainted with the theory and practice of civil engineering. However bigoted some of our professors may be in the theory of surveying according to the prescribed rules, yet it is well known amongst us that such theoretical measurements are incapable of any practical illustration. All our locomotives, trains, are designed to run on what may be regarded as true levels or flats. There are, of course, partial inclines or gradients here and there, but they're always accurately defined and must be carefully traversed. But anything approaching to 8 inches in a mile, increasing as the square of the distance, which of course is the rule for the curvature of the Earth, could not be worked by any engine that was ever yet constructed. Taking one station with another all over England and Scotland, it may be stated that all the platforms are on the same relative level. So they're saying if you go from England to Scotland to Wales to wherever these trains go to, you could literally say it's on one perfect plane. And I agree with that. But here, let's keep going. The distance between eastern and western coasts of England may be set down as 300 miles. So there's 300 miles from east to west coast of England. If the prescribed curvature, okay, here, let me switch back over to make sure you can see exactly what I'm showing you here. And I'm going to move this web page so I can see it this time there. Okay. Here's my pointer. Okay, let's say like, you know, England is here, and it's 300 miles from that coast to that coast. There to there is 300 miles, right? What he's saying is, if you were to pull a string from there to there and cut this circle and make this a flat plane, you're going to have a hump of Earth in between, you know, flat plane right here. This is like London, this is Birmingham, or wherever they were talking about in the illustration. Rugby, the central stations at Rugby or Warwick. So you got Rugby here and Warwick here, and they're 300 miles apart. But yet, on a globe Earth, you know, in 300 miles, you have 3 miles of curve. Nearly 3 miles of curve. So what he's saying is this train has to climb a 3-mile mountain to go from one station to the other. No train on Earth can climb a mountain 3 miles high. You see what I'm saying? This is his argument. This is what he's saying. He says if the prescribed curvature was indeed as presented, the central stations ought to be close upon 3 miles higher than a cord drawn from the two extremities. So if you were to draw a string from one to the other, the Earth would have a 3-mile curve between the two. If such was the case, there is not a driver or stoker within the kingdom that would be found to take charge of the train. We can only laugh at those of your readers who seriously give us credit for such venturesome exploits as running trains around spherical curves. Horizontal curves on levels are dangerous enough. Vertical curves would be 1,000 times worse, and with our rolling stock constructed as at present, physically impossible. So I take exception to this, and here's why. He's making a very bad assumption in his logic here. And I'm going to use this bowl. This is like a cereal bowl. See? And I will put it right there. This is Rugby. And this is, what was that other place? Warwick. There's Warwick. And there's Rugby. And let's just assume that that's 300 miles from here to here, right? On the globe Earth, it looks like this, 300 miles from here to here. He's saying the train has to climb a 3-mile high mountain to get over. See? It's got to go up 3 miles and back down. That's what he's saying, because there's 3 miles of curvature in 300 miles. The problem is the train's not going over a 3-mile high mountain. The train is traversing across flat, level ground. Even if I don't believe in the globe, okay, you got that? I believe we live on a flat plane. But our science needs to be accurate, is what I'm trying to say. And this is bogus science. We should not be using this train because we look like idiots. And this is in one of the books that we hold on. This is the Bible, flat earth, terra firma. You know what I'm saying? But everybody makes mistakes. This guy has just made a mistake and we shouldn't repeat it. And here's why. On an earth, if, you know, this was the earth and there was gravity and the center pulling everything down, that's what their theory. We have to go with their theory, you understand? Until we break their theory, we have to be able, we can't use their ball and then make our own rules to it. If we use their theory, we have to use their rules. You understand what I'm saying? And their rule has this magical force called gravity pushing down equally anywhere on this ball to the center. So anywhere on this ball, there's an equal force going to the center if this were the earth. And gravity's pulling inwards, right? It would kind of be like a blanket pushing down evenly all the way around. That's the ball earth. I'm going to stand up for this next part and come over here. So here we got our train stations. Wherever you are at on the earth, if you're on a ball earth, you're on the top of the globe. Everyone has their own center of gravity. This bowl, for that bowl right now, it's on the top of the earth. I'm not. I'm off to the side of the earth, to this bowl. This bowl right now is the center of the earth to itself. But that chair right there is its own center of gravity. And my dog over there is its own center of gravity. Everything on this round earth, if it was a globe earth, is what I'm saying. It's not a globe earth. But if it was, we're using their example and he's using their example. So we have to say if. If we're on a globe earth and we're on a train, everywhere that train is, no matter where it's at on this earth, whether it's Australia or North Pole or Europe or America or Hawaii, it doesn't matter where on that earth that train is. To that train, it's right here on the dead top because it is its own center of gravity. So everywhere that train goes, it's going downhill. You understand what I'm saying? If he stopped the train and put it in reverse, he's not going uphill now. He's still going downhill because as he drives the train, his center of gravity goes with him and he always remains the top of that ball. You see what I'm saying? His center of gravity doesn't go with the curve of the earth and all of a sudden he's hanging on the side of the earth, you know what I'm saying? Because you've got gravity pulling in here as well. So, you know, this ball is just flying through space. There is no up or down. There's no, you know what I'm saying? Forget all this junk on this ball. You can see it right there. I had it lean against a wall and the paint came off of it. But everywhere that train is on the very top of this ball to that train. Your car, you're at the top of the ball when you're in your car. If the road is level, meaning the elevation doesn't go up and down, but it stays at the same elevation, this is the same elevation all the way around. That's flat. You understand what I'm saying? You're saying, no, that's curved. I can see the curve. Yes, we're going around a curve, but the elevation is flat. The elevation is not changing. If this is sea level, I've never came off of sea level. I've stayed at sea level the whole time. So that's flat. It would be an elevation change if I came up a mountain range. That would be an elevation change because this point is farther from the center of that ball than this point. Wherever you're at on the ball, maybe they build a road 100 miles in the air. But as long as that road is evenly spaced, 100 miles to the center, you know, or whatever distance to the center of the earth, as long as it's dead even all the way around that ball, and gravity is pulling down like they say it is, then that train is always going downhill no matter which way it goes, because it's always at the top of the ball. Now, it may be sitting on a big earth that looks flat, if the globe is true, but in all reality, it's always going to be going over the curve, right? If we're on a globe, that train's always going to be, even though it's very imperceptible, only 8 inches per mile. But if a train's a mile long, I've seen plenty of trains more than a mile. If a train's a mile long, that means from one end of the train to the other. If this is a train that's a mile long, one end, you know, and it's on a curve, Earth, there's going to be an 8-inch curve here in 1 mile. Well, that train is not straight at that point, it's curved. And it's going around the ball like that. But the ball is always perfectly underneath of it, and it's always perfectly up here due to its center of gravity. Not because it's north or south or east or west or in Birmingham or Tupelo or you know, no matter where it's at. It's always on the top of that ball to its own center of gravity. Everything always becomes the center of the earth, the center of gravity. So it's constantly going downhill. It does not have any 3-mile high mountain to climb. It's just got to traverse across flat ground that's even. Yes, the railroad tracks have to be built flat, but on a ball earth, you don't build them flat like this. That's not flat on a ball earth. That, from here to here, that would be a mountain. This is a mountain because this is raised off the ground. That's elevation change. This is elevation change. That would be a mountain. This isn't flat. These are mountains right here. Flat on a ball earth is following the curve because there's gravity pushing in all the way around. Okay? So this illustration saying that trains on a globe earth, it's impossible for a train to traverse 300 miles because it's climbing a 3-mile high mountain is simply not true. It's just not true. And I would encourage anybody that thinks it is true to upload a video responding to me and, you know, show me how I'm wrong about this. But I'm not. I promise you I'm not wrong about this. In the theory, I'm not saying we're on a globe earth because we're not. We're on a flat plane under a dome. That's what I believe. But we're using their technology to explain their theory. This is what they're doing in the book Terra Firma. They're saying that on a globe, a train would have to be climbing a 3-mile high mountain. And it's not. We just simply know that's not true. There's no elevation change. If this is 0 degrees, if this is 0 foot sea level, and that's 0 sea level, then from there to there is 0 foot sea level the whole way. If it's flat, you know, if there's no mountains or whatever in between. So you could drive a train from there to there and never incline or decline 1 inch, even around the ball. Because everywhere that train is, it's always its own center of gravity. The train doesn't know it's on a ball. It's not part of the debate. It's just a piece of machinery acting upon the laws of physics, which if there was gravity included in these laws of physics, anchoring that train to the ground evenly all the way across, then that train thinks it's on the top of the earth at all times. And it's always, it's staying level, but it's always doing this. It's never going up an incline unless you tell it to, unless they manufacture the track with an incline, then it's going up an incline. But even on a globe earth, if they manufacture that track to follow the curve of the earth perfectly, then it's not going to act any different on a flat earth versus a curved earth if gravity is a thing. We know gravity is false, but I'm just saying we cannot use this illustration to disprove the globe earth and to prove a flat earth. It just simply does not work. It's garbage science. So, in tandem with that, is another person who has another theory out, very similar, which is a D to G. Now, Aditya G has a video, and thank you for all the work you've done, Aditya. I'm not knocking you in any way. You ought to take this as the highest compliment ever, because I paid attention to your stuff, and I appreciate it. But you're making the same mistake that Terra Firma did, and I understand why, because you took the information from Terra Firma or like what, or somewhere you got that information, but that came from Terra Firma eventually. That was its source. And you've applied it to a river. You're in Texas, and from San Antonio or whatever city you're in to the coast was like, what'd you say, it was a couple 100 miles, 300 or 400 miles, you know, and there's a river, and where you're at 400 feet elevation, and so a couple 100 miles away is sea level, obviously, because the sea's there. So the river, you know, is at 400 feet up here, and it should flow this way. But you're using the same theory about the Earth, that river have to climb like a 3-mile high mountain to get down to the bay or wherever it's draining into. And it's just simply not true. On a globe Earth, with gravity, we have to use their instruments. Now, we can disprove gravity, and that's just things we're doing, but we can't disprove gravity by using their ball. We have to disprove it by using science. But when we're using their model, we have to be true to their model. And their model does not say that a river has to climb 3 miles uphill and then come back downhill in order to go down a 400-foot decline. It's just simply not true, because this is flat. This is flat. You understand that? You have to be able to see that this is flat. It's a ball, but it's a flat ball. It would be not flat if you had mountains. Yeah, there's little grooves, so technically that little groove right there is a mountain range. It's got these little grooves all the way around it, you can see. And there's a little indent, it's raised just a little bit. Well, that would be representative like a mountain range. But the point is that if you're at 0 feet sea level here and 0 feet sea level here, then this is flat. From here to here is flat. Even though it's going around a curve, it's flat elevation-wise, 0 foot to 0 foot. There's no incline and there's no decline. And water always finds its level. So on Earth, if for some reason water could stick to a ball flying through space, which they say it does, we know it doesn't, but if it does, which is the model we're presented, then in that model, rivers don't have to flow uphill because they're just going with elevation change. And since gravity is equal, there's no such thing as the curve of the Earth isn't affected by river flowings or by train tracks. You know what I'm saying? So this is junk science. We just simply cannot use these illustrations anymore. We cannot. I challenge you, please, if you think I'm wrong about this, don't just, you know, tell me you're wrong, dude. Tell me why. Explain to me why, using their model with gravity, that you think that this is going over a mountain. A mountain would be a mountain, you know? That would be a mountain. Now, if you told me the train going up here would be going over a mountain, yes, because it's going up in elevation as versus its level. And level, let's say, for this illustration is sea level, 0 feet. Well, if this is 0 feet here and 0 feet here, then the train just simply has to follow a straight, smooth path. Yeah, it's going over a curve, but the train doesn't care about this curve. The train just cares about the center of gravity. And it knows the center of gravity is always working with it. So 0 foot is 0 foot, no matter where it's at on this ball. If it's got to climb to 2 foot, now it's pulling away from the ball, so therefore gravity is going to work against it. That's what the difference is. Whenever you shift something, you have a car on a flat road, right? And it stays right where it's at. All you got to do is put it on a slight hill and it'll roll back, because gravity, right, what we're told, gravity, or what we know is density, but anyways, is going to pull it down the hill. But this train isn't going down a hill when it's sitting on a supposed 3-mile high mountain. We know cars will roll down hills. You can go outside and put a car on a hill and it'll roll down it. So if this is a 3-mile high mountain, then the train, whoa, I just threw the dang thing. The train should be rolling backwards or forwards down the mountain all by itself. But we know that's not true, because if it's 300 miles from here to here, and that's a 3-mile high mountain, well, the first half is 3 miles up, the second half is 3 miles down. So we should have trains that go up 3 miles and then have runaway trains after that. But that's not the case. Of course, we're not on the ball, so none of this matters anyways, but we're using this as proof, is my point. And we can't use it because it's garbage science. I hope I've explained this good enough. But I promise you, if somebody smarter than I am, or that's got graphics that can put this out, please do it. Make a video to show how this is garbage science, so all these people will quit using this science out of that book Terra Firma, and the train example and the river example. We gotta quit using that. Water doesn't flow uphill and trains don't go uphill, even on a globe Earth. It just doesn't happen. That's not in the physics of this model, unless it's got to go up a mountain, an incline, which they don't. They're admittedly built on level surfaces. So even if that level surface follows a curve, it's nonetheless level because of gravity. Gravity is the neutralizing force. We have to stay within their model, to use their model to explain. They're using their model to explain how false it is. Well, you can't, because according to their model is gravity. So my third and final bogus science that I want to talk about is JERANISM. And I love JERANISM, and this, obviously, this is the highest compliment. But man, you came out with something the other day. I was listening to your live stream, and you came out with some shit that just like, I was like, dude, what have you been smoking? Pass some my way, you know what I'm saying? Here's what happened. You started talking about the curvature of the Earth, and we know we have 8 feet per mile. So you use this theory of, well, if you had 25,000 people 1 mile apart all the way around the Earth, between each person is an 8-inch drop, right? Which, yeah, the answer is yes. So you have 25,000 increments of 8-inch drops, because it's 25,000 miles around, and so every mile is 8 inches. So you multiplied 25,000 by 8 foot and came out with 3.18 miles. And I don't see how you didn't see this. Maybe you do now, but if you did, I don't know if you've corrected yourself, because it's been a few days ago. But first of all, the actual numbers, like according to them, is 24,901, I believe. And it's not 8 inches per mile drop. It's actually like 7.9 or something like that. I don't have the numbers in front of me. But it's not an exact 8. It's not 8 on the dot. It's 7 point something. We rounded to 8 for illustration because a little bit difference doesn't matter, right? But it does when you're doing your measurement that you came up with of 3.18 miles, because when I put my numbers in, I came up to 3.14. Do you recognize that number anywhere? Maybe pi? What you've done is you've actually you've discovered the number pi in the formula by putting the other numbers that you know in place. Like in a formula, when you do Pythagoras theory, one of the numbers that is in there is pi. That's one of the constants that is put in the formula. You have pi, and you have some formula here. And pi is one of the constants that's put in. Well, just like with any formula, if you have this, and all these different factors put in, it'll give you this answer over here, which is pi. But we already know pi. You're not looking for pi. But all you did is took 24,901 multiplied it by 8 inches, which is a number we only know because we use a formula where we input pi as a constant into it. So you deduce pi back out of the formula. So your 24,901 increments of 8 inches is not 3.14 miles. Miles is not even a unit applied to that at this point, because pi is a constant. It's a constant, it's just a number that is always the same. You're multiplying miles by it and stuff, but pi itself isn't a mile, it's a constant. So the number you came up with it's an irrelevant number for what your theory was, that somehow the curve is actually more than 8 inches per mile. This is exactly what you said. It was even like, it could be 1,000 miles instead of a couple hundred feet. You know, I don't get what you were saying, because Pythagoras' theory is very clear. You know, from here, if you draw a straight line out, Pythagoras' theory says, you know, from the end of that stick down at any point along, you can determine that level by using this formula. And the pi, 3.14, is one of the constants you have to plug into that formula in order to get the 8 inches per mile answer. So all you've done is deconstructed the formula and came back up with pi. But pi was there the whole time. It's not some mystery that you came up with and got some bullshit answer, which is what you think it is. There's got to be more. You're like thinking there's got to be. All you're doing is looking at a constant that deals with circles. Circles are always the constant. The constant is circumference is always 3 times or 3.14 times the diameter. Pi is that magic number that we use on spheres and circles, because circles are their own things, you know. We have to have a number that works, and 3.14 is that amazing number that discovered itself. It's not some big discovery. It's simple. All you have to do is take a string and wrap around this ball, right? And then pull it out long ways. And that gives you your circumference. And then you just take a string from there to there and find your diameter. And if the string is 100 inches and your short string is 100 inches and your long string is 314 inches, all you do is divide the short one into a long one, and that tells you how many diameters you have in circumference. And if you measure 100 balls the same way, and it gives you the same 3.14 number every time, you realize that in a circle, diameter is always the division of pi into the circumference, or the diameter times pi always equals the circumference. So all you did, Jaron, in your description is you just got back to pi. You didn't discover 3.18 miles, that this thing is making a little tiny 3.18 mile curve. That's not at all what this is coming down to in your formula. I know you think that. I understand why. You've got little 1 mile increments. They're only 8 inches per, and you're thinking, well, how come 25,000 times 8 inches only adds up to 3 miles? But yet it curves all the way around the earth, and you're trying to figure this out. There's nothing to figure out. You're chasing a ghost that doesn't exist. All you found was pi. You found the original constant that gives you Pythagoras' theorem formula. You came back to square one, which was pi, which was a cool way of verifying it, but all you were doing was proving your formula. It's like you come up with a formula and you say it's 8 inches per mile curve. Well, someone says, okay, I'm going to prove that formula. And so they say, okay, 25,000 miles times 8 inches divided by 5,280 feet equals 3.14. There's pi. It's work. Your math checks out. You were right. So pi, all you figured out was pi. There is no extra curve. It is 8 inches per mile squared. It's just that simple. Okay? Don't try to reinvent the wheel here. This wheel they already invented, and the theories are out there. We know Pythagoras' theory works, and we have circles in this world. and it works on all circles. So there's no need to try to reinvent Pythagoras' theorem. Pythagoras' theorem is math and it's science, and it works. So this 3.18, which is actually 3.14, you round it on your math, which makes a big difference when you're looking at pi. But do the numbers exactly, get the exact miles of the earth and the exact inches, 7.96 or whatever it is, multiply that, and you'll find out it comes exactly to pi. So that's all I'm saying, Jared. So if I'm wrong about this, tell me how I'm wrong. Prove me wrong. But I know I'm not wrong in this. Believe me, I've spent a lot of time over the last couple of days working this out and talking to different people. And that's bogus science. So don't use that question about 3.18. That's just a rabbit trail. That's to confuse people, and it's garbage science. Sorry, Jaron, but it is. Love you, though. Love your spirit. You're good. Don't let me slow you down one bit. There's no judgment here, buddy. I love you. Okay, I'm going to move along. I'm at an hour and 41. Holy shit. I've still got all of my ideas. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and stop this video right here at an hour and 41 and take a little break and come back and start up part 2. And I'm going to just upload it in 2 parts. It'll be a lot easier because I've got probably another hour, probably 2 hours left, because I'm going to go through some of my own personal theories and some things. So yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this now and be right back. Thanks for listening. Welcome to my living room. This is the Flat Earth Genius. Be right back.